together and work with people across the aisle.
I just wanted to also talk about that as well. And this is a clarification in that the bill is not fitted.
There have been the author of the bill, people who've been working on it have all agreed that if you don't have the wraparound support, you can't do it. That's why
So the legislation goes away?
isn't we would vote, you would vote to over, you would vote to over. Those discussions have already been happening in the sense of so the reason why it was pushed back a year. So there was a different bill that handled things very differently in the first half of session. You might have gotten emails about reaching out to us about it. And that, I think it went in, pretty sure it went in almost an emergency, but the second governor passed it. There were no wraparound services, none of that. So this has been a discussion going on for a while. I do agree that part, the new language was not in a hearing, and that's why some of that going into second session, we can have those hearings. But the idea is putting that framework out of this is how this could look. No one, even the author of some of the amendments has stated, it's not there yet. But it puts a framework out and it allows us to show HHS of, hey, we are trying, we've had a law now passed saying we are requesting of this. Now we have our Department of Health can reach out, apply, the FSSA, I believe, apply. And then, that it also showing, hey, this is the structure to do it. We will gladly take comments, and as many of you have emailed me, yourself as well, and gladly want to hear how to do it. What the step one is, all of us know, this is a massive, massive issue. We need to address it. And I'll get your second. Yeah.
Is what kind of studies or best practices has the legislative looked at?
So in terms of the development of the policy, I wasn't on a committee, and so it was been working more with the legislators that have been. Jennifer Meltzer, who used to work at the Department of Health, who's now a state representative out of Shelby County. She has taken the real lead on it, and a lot of I relied on her in my discussions with her. The goal is not to criminalize. The goal is to allow an officer to get those individuals in the car who are unwilling to accept help. Because one of the parts that we haven't talked about the film is what triggers this, right? So an individual who is either at a location for 24 hours or 72 hours, depending on where it is. Officer, first step, they need to assess, in the law, is this person having an emergency episode? And that's not the official title, but I'm going to use that word for now. If the answer to that is yes, this entire bill does not come into play. The entire bill, if they say, I'm assessing that this person is emergency level, there's already in Indiana code, and this is what I was talking about a second ago, and you go through this steps of here. If they have assessed that they're not to that level, they tell them, hey, you have 24 hours. I will provide you services, where to go, and either it has to be a facility within 5 hours or 5 miles, not 5 hours, 5 miles. They have to qualify for entry. So if you have an individual who's an alcoholic or an individual that uses illicit drugs or they abuse prescriptions, they would not qualify for the Christian Center. Therefore, that is off the map for that individual. If there's no location where they qualify within the 5 mile radius, this bill does not go into play. They can then make calls. I'll get to you next. They can make calls. No, you're gonna.
I'm hearing all this explanation, but what I'm not hearing is other communities that have done this and had positive outcomes that now Indiana is saying, yes, let's do this too, because it's been so successful in wherever.
I can't speak to specifics of this exact steps. I know other states have applied for HHS funding in terms of trying to intervene, but in terms of that, I'm not. If you have other locations that have not used this model, I know you don't agree with this model the slightest. I'm saying if there's other states that have models that you're interested in, happy to look at it. A lot of what we're trying to do is set the table of we need to do something, and this is where we could get to a level of okay, this is the step of how you got to do it. And I've said it before.
Some things were considered.
What was that?
Were any other somethings considered?
Yeah, there were.
We had to do something, so we did this. But what other? Like, I just can't understand how this became the best idea that could come out of the legislators.
In terms, it's more in the sense of how do we get an individual? So right now, under civil law, you cannot get a person into And you cannot force a person to take care, right? So if you saw an individual say, hey, I'm asking you, I'm begging you, please, we have the resources right here. We'll pay for all of it. We'll get you on Medicaid, it'll give you wraparound services. If the person says no, there's no civil remedy unless they're an emergency under Indiana law, none, right? And what happens is there are some who want support. That's the first, that's half the battle. But if they don't, what do we do? And that's where, no, it's a class, the reason the Class C misdemeanor is no one's going to charge it, but it allows them to get into the process. And it can be sent to problem solving court. That's one of the last parts of the bill is, and they would not, and they could work to that. Another thing we're gonna try to work on next year is so it wouldn't even be on their legal record.
Last question. So why the need then to force local municipalities to enforce this? I mean, like if you're.
When I started drinking cold water to help me lose weight, my friends laughed at me. But when they saw how fast
You said something that triggered that question, like that we wouldn't have to enforce it, but from my understanding, the city of Anderson has to enforce this or else we'll be in trouble. Yeah.
It's more, so it's in terms of if an individual does not meet the threshold, because what we don't want to be in a situation is, hey, you can go to the Christian center, but they drink, they're, I don't want to say they're alcoholic, but they drink alcohol and or they do lots of drugs, or, whatever, they don't qualify. Well, now it's the idea and what we're trying, I think it's, to your question, I think it's a showcase. We're trying to showcase this isn't trying to be punitive, because if you don't.
It's
qualify-
punitive.
I
It's punitive.
I understand.
There's no,
It's
I
punitive.
understand.
yeah.
That's,
Anyway,
that's why we're giving 18 months. I fully hear you. The idea of putting people in jail for 30 days and doing that, I fully agree. That's why there will be a whole other session and it will be a major issue during that. But the idea is, if we need to showcase to HHS, get an application in and show them, HHS says, well, hey, you're asking for funding for this. Well, those who want it, okay, good. We also want to have a process to help those who are resisting, because those who are in the thralls of addiction, those who are in a not emergency mental crisis, but in a mental crisis, those who have long-term schizophrenia and other conditions, many of them won't accept help, and many of them don't know that something's wrong, and many of them don't trust individuals. There's so many reasons why. And so the question is, how do we get the threshold? Because that was the biggest discussion of why are we bringing the criminal side in? Why can't we just use a civil, have a civil, a code citation? Code citation is just a civil penalty of usually money. I can't help force this person to get help. So there could be discussions of, do we create this like intermediary where it's not criminal, but like the police can engage? We could talk about those have been in discussion. But the idea was, we need to get the HHS component to it. We need to show HHS that we are willing to work with those who are unable or undesired to do or lack the desire to engage it. But we are far from over. And that's what I keep saying. There's a whole other session. And if it does not get there, with strong confidence, we would barely be straight the entire time. I'm gonna go back to you first. And I told Terry I'd go to her. Is it related to this or is it?
no, you go ahead.
No, actually, the gentleman in the back, is it Terry's your question?
Well, I mean,
Is the gentleman in the back, sorry.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna be very candid with you, just from what I'm hearing on this homeless thing. Because this is the only way I know how to be.
Yeah.
'Cause I was brought up in a family that was
Yep.
taught that right from wrong, and you better do it, And so you as a Republican are sitting here, and what I'm hearing, I know as a Republican, you believe in the right, what you call right to life, it's actually right to birth. But when these kids are